get it. Real Talk with Carl and Charlene. Real talk for the real world. Let's get it.
Hello, 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 hello. Welcome, everybody. This is a lovely Tuesday, and we're here back on the scene again. Welcome to another edition of Real Talk with Carl and Charlene. And we are grateful to see you guys once again. For those who tuning in live, let us know where you're tuning in from. Drop your comments and your questions in the chat. We know it's a global show, so we want to hear from you. We are happy to start off this another week kicking it. We hope you guys had a wonderful Valentine's Day. I got our hearts out there to all the wonderful people in the LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube category confirmation community, wherever you're at. But I can't do this by myself. I got the lovely hostess with the mostest. Come on, bring the noise. What's up, Charlene?
What's going on? I was like, did he freeze
What's
already?
up? No.
What's
We're not
happening?
freezing today. We're not freezing today. We're not even calling that into existence. We're not
Touche,
freezing.
touche.
You know what I'm saying? But
What?
what's going on with you? What the Valentine's look like?
Man,
What the Valentine's?
man.
What did my man Shadow get you?
Shadow gave me a whole bunch of shed fur. So yeah, that's what we were doing. But we had cuddle time yesterday. We had cuddle
That's awesome.
time.
That's awesome.
This weekend it was like he was still brand new into the Brooklyn life.
Wow.
So we had a lot of cuddle moments. And I will say, um, as much as everybody said, was yesterday was a time to recognize love and all that
Yeah.
lovely stuff.
Oh wow.
Can I just tell you, QuickBooks tested my love
Oh
quotient.
wow. Wow. We gonna put him
So they
on
get no
blast.
love from me.
No
None.
love,
None.
QuickBooks. No
None at
love.
all. I give love to the accountants, those bookkeepers. Y'all sitting over here tackling QuickBooks. I give y'all love because QuickBooks was
Uh,
a no-go for me.
Oh man, I
So
want
yeah.
to thank me. I want to thank me for representing me. You sound like a Snoop Dogg right there. You know what I mean? You're not giving no love to the
Oh
peoples.
my God. No love. None. They gets
Wow,
nothing.
wow,
But
that's
I
not
do
cool.
want to give love to our amazing community.
Yeah.
We kicked off on a whim, on a hunch, to do a lovely little mini series. And can I tell you the love
Oh
that's pouring in for that mini series is
man,
amazing.
it
We
is.
we we think that you guys are gonna love what we have coming up in March, but we just want to I just want to make sure that I say thank you, give you guys that kudos, give you that love because a quick 30 minutes. Sometimes you just need that quick chatter to say, am I on the right track? Am I not? What do I need to do? Boom, here you go, and then keep it moving for the day. And especially on a Friday, I mean, when I tell you it's bumping on 9 a.m. on a Friday, I was like, what?
It is.
People
Like
people awake?
I thought people. I knew people was waiting, but I thought people like got their weekend plans in. But it
Yeah.
was people getting it in, I've been getting quite a few DMs on there like, yo, that's moving. I love that. I love what y'all doing with that. Feeding it in, and we thanking y'all for coming in the comments, joining in. Also, ask them questions. Drop them questions in, because
Yes.
those
Yes.
questions are the only way that we learn. Yeah, we know some things. We sharing what we know, but you guys asking questions, dropping in your thoughts and comments, that make us dive. That make us go search and research so we get
Mhm.
information to make sure we feed it to you, because that's what it's really about. Real recognize
Yes.
real, y'all. We tell you
Yeah,
that.
there's been a lot of questions coming in about SEO and what do I
Yes.
do? What do I need? I need help. So that's what we're going to talk about this week, Friday, 9
Okay.
a.m. Eastern.
Be
We're
there,
going
be
to talk
square.
about SEO, and I'm going to help make it a little simpler so you understand it really doesn't have to be that difficult. It doesn't have to be complicated. It's just you doing what? Getting that website strategy intact, understanding the overall game plan. What's your ultimate goal for your business? And before you know it, the SEO part of it is going to be super simple. So that's really all what we're going to talk about. And Mr. Vulnerability next to me, he's going to
Well,
help
we
us
hit it.
guide us into, it doesn't SEO doesn't have to take away from you bringing your true personality and yourself and your vulnerability to the plate. You just got to understand, how do you want to be seen and remembered and found. So that's what that's all about. And today it's also about finding your purpose. Since we're
Find
talking about
it.
finding things,
Yeah, find
finding
it.
your purpose, right? And then from that purpose, I always feel like that's how you're really going to start creating that life and the business that you love. And sometimes maybe you don't want to start a business, but you want to be in a career that you love. So regardless of what it is, life, personal, business, all of that, you should be able to understand how can you truly dive into it, love every part of it when you find what is your ultimate purpose. And our guest today, that's what she helps her clients do. Emily Harman is amazing. She's a vet, she's a powerhouse. And when I tell you, she is a person that you want to know, because when she comes into your world, it's a whole new level, right?
That's
So that's something that, to have someone who can help you understand your purpose, man, it's a game changer all around. And I want to say hi, everybody. Hi, Usama.
up. What's up, Usama? What's up, man? But you are the walking the wisdom, my friend.
You already are. Stop that. Stop that. So, Carl, is there anything that you wanted to say as we bring
Yo,
on Emily?
we got to bring Emily on because we talking about finding your purpose here. We creating a life in a biz. See, these things are married so much. That didn't used to be right. We used to separate. Okay, my job, then I come home, and I remember that used to be like the mantra back in the 80s, 90s. Leave your work at home. Don't come home with your work. Right now,
Yes.
it's so much married to how we're doing business as a globe that home, work, and life, it's a mess. I know they used to always talk about it. They used to kill me with that work life balance. Well, I'm a military dude. We didn't have no work life balance. When the military called, you came and did what you're supposed to do, and whatever had left, that was your balance. So,
Yes.
with the
Yes.
how it is
Yes.
now in creating these business and creating these lives we want to enjoy, we want them to mesh together, and we want them to be doing it. And no other person that I've seen respectfully watching her has blended this together than our
Mm-hmm.
guest today, Emily. What's up, Emily? How are you this morning?
Good
Hi, Carl
morning.
Shawn. Hi,
Hey,
Charlene.
hey, what's going on?
Hey, everybody who's watching. Hi, Sama. Hi, Virginia. Thank you, guys. I'm excited to be here. And as soon as my website's done, I'm working on getting it updated. I'm going to work with Charlene on my SEO.
Okay.
Yes.
Talk about it.
Yes.
Talk about it.
Although
Yes.
something must be working because I got an email the other day from somebody who was looking for a coach that had a female coach with a military background. So they found me through
Yes.
my website.
There you
So
go. There you go. There you
See,
go.
and that's always the best, the best feeling, I think, is to know, like, oh, you know what, I'm really doing this. Because once you set it up, it becomes a residual feeling for you. You don't have to keep telling people your story, because your website is doing that for you. So I'm excited to hear that. I'm excited to work with you. And I just wanted to have you get into letting the folks know a little bit about you and what got you into or interested in helping others find their purpose so they can create the life and business that they love.
Oh yeah, thanks. So I guess just a little brief history of me. My life kind of, I think, is where I am today because of basketball. And someone might say, "Well, why basketball?" And that's because when I was younger, I started playing basketball. My dad spent a lot of time helping me with how to play basketball, teaching me the hook shot and stuff like that. And I was the leading scorer in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. And I had my choice of colleges where where I could go to college. And I ended up going visiting West Point one day. It was cold and rainy and gray. And I thought, oh, I don't know about this school. And then the Naval Academy was close by. I grew up in Annandale, Virginia. And so I went and visited there, and I really liked the basketball team. And, Annapolis is beautiful. And I ended up going there. I really didn't know that much about the military, but I knew I wanted a good education. And I wanted to, have a good education, even if I got hurt, which, I ended up getting hurt. I tore both of my anterior cruciate ligaments, one my freshman year and one my senior year. But I still got a good education. And that led to me serving in the Navy for 7 years on active duty and 13 in the reserves, and then also serving as a civilian. So when I retired, when you add it all up, I had 34 years of service to my country. And I retired in May of 2019. And I called my retirement a graduation. I'm like, yes, I'm graduating. My kids are grown. I get to figure out what I want to do. And what is it that I want to do? Who am I? And so it's kind of like I feel like I had lost myself under amount of responsibilities of being a single parent, taking care of my kids, pushing at work, pushing, working hard, striving, achieving. I made it to the rank of senior executive, an equivalent of a 2-star admiral. But I wanted to figure out, everyone was telling me what I should do. And I wanted to figure out what I wanted to do. And just to make a long story short, a couple weeks after I retired, my daughter called and told me that her dad had cancer. And 2 weeks after that, he was paralyzed in both arms from the cancer, and he died 5 months later. And I saw him die with regrets. That is what woke me up to, I want to create a life I love living now. I don't want to wait until I retire. I have his files, and he had like files on what he was going to do when he retired, and he was 64. And I don't want to die with regrets, and I want to help others do the same. So that, I think that was a big part of my life that started me on this spiritual journey of, better understanding who I am and how to tune into my intuition, because I spent a lot of my life living in my head.
Wow. Look, that's, I think a lot of us can relate to. I know I can. And part of that was you're always seeing, almost you're like you're watching your life or what could be from the outside, but you're not living your life. So even
Yeah.
to write things down, sometimes people will do the vision board situation, but then they're not actually actively going after those dreams. And then, like you said, to die with regrets and to die with knowing that, what could have been if you just took that step forward. So, yeah,
Mhm.
I appreciate you for doing that for others as well.
Yeah, I love doing it. And it's just, I also know that he wasn't there for his kids. He didn't really support them, as they were growing up. And I'm not saying anything my kids wouldn't agree with, but and so I could just see he had a lot of time to think. And so, one of the visualizations I like to do from time to time is go visit my elder, wiser self, and check in with her. What would she do in this situation? Am I living a life that I'm going to be happy with when I get to that stage, when I look back? you know so I think that's important too.
Yes.
Yeah. You make some good points, especially when you talk about those regrets and those things, and a lot of times we have them, and we don't even have to get to that far along. I know now trying to do school at my age is so much difficult, and I look at things and say, okay, well, you was like you could have been on this track a long time ago, right? And I always go to the spiritual with this because it's nothing that we can really have our hand on. A lot of things that we are looking at happens to us in the times that we can do them. And
Yeah.
when I say do them, I mean that you can be fortified in actually achieving that. And I'm so grateful that God didn't put me in a lot of places that I wanted to be, because I would have made a mess of things.
Yeah.
And I look at that. So when you live the life, like you say, when you got the spiritual, kind of like the spiritual awakening, I think all of us come to those points, whether we want to acknowledge it spiritual, or however we want to say it on that realm. We get to the place of a lot of times where we're saying, I want to live my purpose. We even get tired of the circles that we're in, and we say, what is my purpose? I hear a lot of people, even that I work with off and on, in clients and potential clients, like, I just been doing this for the longest, and I don't think this is my purpose. I mean, people that have spent 30, 40 years in careers, and it's this that, like, now they figuring out that I think I wasted a lot of time here. But
Yeah.
what do you give as kind of like what was your strategy to say, okay, this is it. I know I've done so much, because a lot of these people I talk to are accomplished in their own rights, but they're not satisfied in their accomplishments, and they're not purposeful in what they accomplish. How did you get to this point beside the spiritual awakening and say, you know what? I know I've done all of these things there, but there's more, and it's not too late for me to do them.
Well, I feel like I was just achieving, 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 and never celebrating my achievements, just always going on to the next thing. Once this happens, then I'll be happy. When this happens, then I'll be happy. And I made it to the as high as I feel like I could probably go within the Navy, and I still was like, something's missing. What is it? So I thought, well, when I retire, I'm going to have all this time. I'm going to get in really good shape. I'm going to, in fact, it's interesting. I knew I wanted to be a coach. So I thought, well, I'm really good at getting a lot of stuff done. I'll help coach people in time management. And I've done a complete 180 because you don't have to push to get stuff done. And I thought that when I retired, my pushing would stop, that I'd have all this free time to explore, but I was busier than ever. And so I finally realized that I couldn't keep pointing my finger at, it's the job, it's this, it's that person, it's, whatever. It was me, because I'm retired and I'm still friggin' busy and pushing. Something has got to change in me. And I thought that I was, I never really, there's many times in my life where I didn't really enjoy the moment. I was always thinking of the next achievement or what I could have done or how I could have done something differently. And like I said, I thought that would stop when I retired. And it really took me doing the inner work on myself. And I really believed that I wasn't capable of slowing down, of getting in touch with my intuition. I had a coach that wanted me to meditate for 40 days straight. And she had these little time, I could pick, like, do I want to do it for an hour, 15 minutes? My hyperachiever in my mind said, well, do it for an hour. And I thought, well, I'm not going to meditate for an hour a day. There's no way I can do that. So I said 15 minutes. I can do that easily. Well, every week when I saw her, she'd say, what day are you on? I say 2. You don't even understand. I'm busy. I've got a lot to do. And it wasn't until I actually figured out how to slow down and do that meditation, make that time for myself, that I realized, oh, I can get in touch with my intuition. I was so busy. That's why I said I was living in my head. I was not really in touch with my intuition. And if my intuition told me something, I was so busy, I would ignore it. So that's part of the journey too, is realizing that we can change. And a lot of times when we point our finger, we have 3 pointing back at us, right? I had to look at myself. It wasn't the job that was keeping me busy and avoiding my feelings. It was me keeping me busy, avoiding my feelings. And when Bruce died, that's when all the feelings from the divorce back in 2000 and everything came up, and I started feeling my feelings and I started opening my heart. I had kept it closed for so long by being busy and pushing. And I thought that work was just hard and challenging. And I would say, most of my career as a contracting officer, where I had to keep track of, you were talking about QuickBooks, Charlene. I had to do spreadsheets and I hated it. I went to the Naval Academy. I'm smart. I'm not stupid, but that is not what I like to do. It just made me go like, ugh, instead of yes. And so that's part of listening to your intuition. It's like you can find something that you really love to do that makes you go like this. I mean, for the most part, you're going to be in that level of energy. You don't have to be like, oh, dread going to work every day. But I just thought that's how work was. And I was around a lot of people who thought that's how work was. So part of it is, who do you surround yourself with too?
Yeah, that's definitely an important part of it. You said, oh man, there was a lot to unpack. You said some things in there that was really, really profound in the essence of, do we ever take these self-evaluate? I put a few things that I was thinking in the comments, and I just, as you were talking, thoughts was coming to me. So you guys saw me typing away. That's what I do. It's just that you have to understand. The first thing came to me when you was talking, you have to understand what life should really feel like.
Yeah.
And we don't understand. We don't get to a point of understanding that, because we've always, and regardless of whether you want to admit this or not, I'm gonna say this to everybody who's watching, we always live in life for somebody, regardless of whatever your dreams are, regardless of whatever jobs you went on, accomplishments you've made, they're all conducive to being something for somebody else. doing something for somebody else. Now you can say school, you can say all of these kind of things that you may be in agreement with, and I know that there's points and places that you can say, yeah, I did this for me. But was the ultimate for you, or was it for you to know something to give or do for somebody else? And when you look at that, what is our life really about? What are our purpose? And I don't think we really do a self evaluation of that. So we don't identify with happiness because we don't know our purpose, and we don't identify with our purpose, so we can't create the life that we want to have because we're just jumbled with maybe from parents, relationships. We have all of these mindsets that's telling us this is who you should be, but we never do evaluation of our own self within our own values and cores and things and say, you know what? That's what I put in there too. Tap into your calling. It's okay. I know a lot of people may be spiritual, may not. A lot of it, whatever you may choose to serve, or whomever you may choose to serve, or whomever you may call him. If you choose into that relationship, you'll start to get some direction. Kind of like, because I hear a lot of people say, "Man, I had a spiritual awakening." And what that looks like for everybody is not the same, and how it affects you is not the same. But a lot of people have getting those really kind of aligning themselves to who they really are. And I think that's what you're saying, and that's what it sounds like that you came into that. And I won't even call it epiphany. I just call it a life lesson. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just a life lesson.
I did something with the coach that I now do with my clients. It takes like 45 minutes, but basically it's this exercise that helps you find your passion, find your life's purpose.
Yeah.
And it was so cool because when I did that, I had already founded the Onward Movement, which right now is a Facebook group. Eventually, as things start open up, we'll have some events and things like that. But it's all about creating a life that you love living. That's where I go live a lot and encourage people to do that. And I wrote a manifesto, and part of some things that are in that manifesto came out to be my part of my life's purpose, like to help people feel seen and heard, because I didn't feel that way when I was growing up. And what that explains why I've done my podcast, and I've got over 100 and almost 180 episodes. I've not missed publishing one episode a week since May of 2019. It's because I love it. I spend my own money out of my pocket doing my podcast because I love it. That feels like yes to me, to interview all these guests. I've learned so much from all the guests. They've helped me, and I'm giving them a voice. I'm helping them be seen and heard. That's part of my purpose, and that's also why I love coaching. So yeah.
Yeah, whatever gets you out of your bed in the morning, what gets you motivated, keeps you going. Because a lot of times we hit those rocks, we hit those walls that tell you not to go any further, and you're like, you know what? No, I need to go further. I need to, even if it's one more step, I need to do that because you know that there's a higher calling for you. And a lot of people, when they hear higher calling, it's spiritual more than anything else. But inside, like with your intuition, that there's a reason that you need to get this done. There's a reason why you need to move forward because you're serving a better cause that's beyond just your satisfaction.
Yeah.
So I think that plays a huge part in the purpose. And I wanted to get into a little bit of that when people want to really dive into it and take action so they can start to go on that journey, finding that purpose. Well, how do you what is I guess, the three things that you kind of help your clients get started on?
One, this seems kind of crazy, but it's clearing clutter.
Mm.
Because if we live, our outside world, is a reflection of our inside. So if we're living in a place full of clutter or disorganized, then we can feel disorganized too. So throughout my whole coaching program, that's one of the things that I have my clients do. It seems maybe to some counterintuitive, how is clearing clutter helping me find my purpose? But it really helps. Sometimes you run across something that you've been saving, that's a part of your past that makes you helps you remember something. I've had a client do that, a client that was stuck in one area of her life, and she was going through her stuff and she found something, and I don't want to give too many details, but that really helped her clear that block in her mind. So clearing clutter is one thing. Another thing that I think is helpful is that exercise that I talked about, where I lead people through kind of, it's a way of looking back at your childhood and your life and the patterns that you're repeating, and maybe what you were found yourself wishing you had or were, or, you know, like for me, being heard more as a child. And I had great parents, don't get me wrong, but that helps too. And also coming up with your values. You know, Carl Shawn, you worked for the military. I worked for the military. I know the Navy's values, but I hadn't taken the time to come up with mine. And I would say spending that quiet time too, in meditation, prayer, making that time for yourself. You know, being a single parent, it was it was it was really tough. You know, my daughter had invisible illnesses, still does. My son was an alcoholic. So, you know, I didn't really have a lot of time for myself. But one thing that I would say too is, you know, understanding why you're doing something, Carl Shawn. You know, my son just a couple years ago started to go to school to study engineering, and he's getting ready to finish his AA degree. And I guess he's getting a degree in like materials engineering and physics, but I don't think he's going to go back right away, because it's like, it's not, he's just worn out. And he told me about that. And I'm like, well, your mom is someone who coaches people to create a life they love living. I support you in doing what you love. If it's not bringing you that energy, I mean, definitely, you've only got 2 more classes left. You got to finish this semester. That would be crazy, I think, to just not finish the semester. But then go do some work in the field and see if it's something that you really like. Because what he's really into is trees and nature, and he always has been. So maybe there's something else that he finds. But you know, I just said, remember, you've got a mom who coaches people on creating a life they love living.
Yeah, and we had to come to that point. I was very mindful of that as a parent. I was like very conscious of not trying to live my dreams through my children. And when
Mm-hmm.
I say that, it's no fault of ours. We're parents. There are some things that we had not achieved or got past us. And we like, oh, I have a child, and especially a man, you have a son. Like I played basketball, football, and I wasn't. I mean, I played a little college, but I was nowhere near a pro athlete level, right? So my son started picking up the baseball. He started picking. So then I started feeling like, you know, I could push him and I could push him. And I think this is just the love that we have unconsciously knowing that, and those kind of things. I think I mentioned it before when my mom said go into, she's a CPA, so she says go into accounting computers in the future, you always have a job. And she kind of like forced my hand of where I would learn, and what my patterns was. And when I got older, I said when I have kids and whatever, I'm just gonna let them be free to choose, not to be reckless, but to choose and be informational in parenting, instead of
Yeah.
just, you know, strong arm. I'm the parent, do as I say. And no, we ain't do no timeouts now. Don't get it twisted. They got that discipline. Ain't nobody get no timeouts now. They got they got that. But I mean, in the course of that, and a lot of that, when I'm talking to people today, and you probably run into this, Charlene, as well. When you're talking to people today, they're still like stuck in the 8, the 9, the 10-year old. They gave all of this reinforcement of where they should be, how they should be. This is the kind of career you should have. It's just put over everywhere: the house, the wife, the kids, the 2 dogs, the picket fence. I mean, all of these painted pictures of what life should be. And I even told my son at one point he'd like to do computers and stuff. He's good at math, but he loves to mess with computers. I told him try it as a trade. College is not for everybody. I'm not going to send you 4 years of school if that's what you're not interested in. You know, so these are the avenues that we become a little smarter in, that we're trying to have people, and we're realizing as we've went through, to kind of share this with people before they get too far up the road. Create that life, you know, that you want, and it will be that. And your son, it definitely is that. If that's something that he loves, I thought that when I first started in laws, I was just pressure with this. I'm going to be an attorney. I'm going to be practicing litigation. I started doing a lot of things. I went back to a lot of my professors and where I work, and I was like, I don't know if I want to practice.
Mhm.
I said, I want to teach and train, and I want to do this part. And they was looking at me like, well, you going through all this? I said, yeah, I want to get the credential because I just started down that road. but I don't want to go in the courthouse. I don't want to be
Uh-huh.
in the courtroom. I want to be able to share my knowledge with someone that's coming up to make things different. But I like that and create that like
Yes.
it's important.
Yes. Yes. Because I
Yeah.
know when I went for my psych internship, I ended up in a home for the elderly, and I knew out the gate this is not for me because it was heartbreaking because I had I would see people who were in the throes of dementia. Some were almost like they were just waiting for that last moment kind of situation, and then you saw those who were vibrant and ready to go, and but it just the environment was just so different, and you had like everyone in that mixed bag all together, and I was like, there's no way this doesn't impact you after a while.
Yeah.
So I just knew like this wasn't for me, and I didn't want to have anyone in that environment either. So it's really about knowing yourself. And like I love that you said, just take time to understand what is it that you want, and then you make your decisions.
Right. My parents are like your Carl Shawn, like, well, how are you going to get health care? How are you going to get
Hmm.
retirement? And
Yeah,
that's that those are things that are important to consider,
right.
but it's not the be all end all. You don't just go to work and push, 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 push and be miserable. That's not how we were created to be.
Now,
And
'cause,
these things are no longer
like,
that like from the 30s and the 40s or 50s even, where you knew, I'm in a job, I'm here for life. No longer. Even I remember it used to be, the thing used to be to go and get a government job,
Right.
right? Because their whole thing is once you get in,
yeah, you in for
they're not
life.
letting you out. You here for life. That's no longer the case either.
People are
So
leaving
it
government and coming back in, leaving and coming back
yeah.
in. Yeah.
And even the government is cutting jobs. So I
Mhm.
think that was another thing that folks felt it was a safety zone. Like if anybody's job got cut, it wouldn't be theirs.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's no
Yes.
longer the case. So it's really about, are you in this for the long haul because you love doing what you do? Or are you just here for that medical that may not even be there anymore?
Yeah.
So you want to really go after what is going to make you happy, and still make a thriving life out of it. You don't have to be happy and broke. That doesn't have to be the case.
Nope. I agree. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And something to another exercise to do kind of as you're creating a life you really love living is take a look at, sometimes we just don't take a minute to just step back and like, what are all the shoulds in my life? What are all the things I'm doing because I should be doing them? And question that, like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? Why do I do this? Is it something that I love? Do we ever ask ourselves, would I love that? And then sometimes we might ask ourselves that, yeah, I'd love it, but I can't have it because of this, this, and this. Well, how do you know? How do you know for sure you can't have it? What if you could? We tend to, look through life with these blinders or particular glasses, and there's so many other ways of looking at life too. But sometimes we can't see it.
Yeah. We
Yeah,
all
and
go ahead. I'm sorry.
go ahead, Carl.
I
Yes,
was
'cause I wanted to make sure that people also knew all that you have going on too, because you help your clients through your services. Can you tell us a little bit about what do you provide with them, and also your podcast?
Okay, yeah. So I have a couple of different coaching programs, and you don't even have to sign up for a coaching specific coaching program. You can sign up just to be coached on what you want to be coached on. But I have one that leads people through some steps to help them with some of the things I just talked about, to help them create a life they really love living, to help them notice and become more aware of their limiting beliefs and their shoulds and their clutter and their thoughts and what's holding them back. um, and I just recently got certified as an energy leadership practitioner, which is an assessment that I can give that shows the different kinds of energy we live our lives in. Where are we spending our time in terms of energy? There's 7 levels of energy under this program, and the first 2 are kind of catabolic. They drain you, they pull you down, and then the others are anabolic. And there's different levels of high energy. And then where do you spend your time in terms of energy when you're under stress? Like for me, when I get under stress, I go to kind of withdrawal, which retreat, like, I just, I don't know, apathy. Some people might go to conflict and get into an argument with somebody else. So this understanding of ourselves really is eye-opening. So those are some things that I coach on. I also coach in the area of positive intelligence, which is basically helping us reframe our thoughts, helping us understand what in our mind is sabotaging us. I have a hyperachiever saboteur that tells me achieve, 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 and you're going to be happy. And it's a bunch of lies because happiness comes from within, not from achieving. So there's other kinds of saboteurs too that I can coach on in that program, like the avoider, the controller, the stickler. And then my podcast is the Onward podcast, which has kind of grown with as I've grown. Initially, when I first started it was on facing adversity and moving forward. And I interviewed a lot of people that I know about how they faced adversity in their lives and how they moved forward. And I think the reason I picked that is because I had faced a lot of adversity in my life and moved forward too. So those stories motivated me, and I knew that they would help others. Then the theme changed to facing adversity, moving forward, and discovering ourselves along the way. Because when you face that adversity, you really learn more about who you are and what you love and like and how you react. And you just learn so much about yourself. And then I've changed it now to the Create a Life. It's still Onward podcast, but it's Create a Life You Love Living Now. I put the now on there because of what I saw my former husband go through. And because of what I've done too. It's like, well, when this happens or that happens or this happens, but really we can be in the present moment now. We can love our lives now. We don't have to wait. What could you do today that would make you love your life, even help you love your life even more? So those are, and I go live on typically Wednesday nights at 7:30. Although tonight I'm going live at 5:30. I'm discussing this book. Can you see it? It's called Sex, Drugs, and Radical Self-Expression, The Unexpected Path to Fulfillment. So I'm interviewing Barry Magliardi, and we're talking about how he, discovered his purpose, and he, started to live a life where he's really fulfilled. So those are some of the things that I'm working on.
Wonderful.
Got lots going on. That's some good information. That's some good talk. And I know even me and being on your show and talking to you, it's some wonderful things that you're doing. And not only that, it's wonderful that you're doing it because of who you are. A lot of times we have different ones, and this is no knock on anybody, but the truth is what it is. Like Grandma used to say, truth don't change. So we get a lot of people that you get involved with, and they give you these kind of like like magic potions, so to speak, of how you can get things accomplished. And you're so genuine, not only because of the fact that your personality, your persona is like that. You walk through it. Like the experience is a great teacher, and no matter how we want to acknowledge it, what someone has went through and tell you about, and if you receive it and apply it in the applicable states that is given to you. A lot of times we can overcome things and not even fall into things. But us as people, as men, we like stubborn. And I say men, I'm just talking about mankind. We're just stubborn. We're just stubborn that way, and we don't hear. But a lot of things that you said, even on today, and how you worked to get to this point is it's just phenomenal in understanding that. And it's always good to me when you understand things and it's not too late.
Yeah, it's not too late. And I've been through it, and my whole life I was pushing, right, to achieve.
Yeah.
This year, my word is being, and I'm not pushing. I'm creating space for clients to come in. I'm creating space for myself to hike, to go visit my kids and be present, to not bring my coaching work with me, or I just visited my son. I was present the whole time, in the moment, the whole time. That is not how I've tended to be in the past. I've been like worried about something or thinking about something, or I have to do this, and one of my guests said, when you when you do, you turn into do. And it's true. So it's like you can still accomplish things. You can still have your to-do list, but who are you being
Yeah.
while you're accomplishing? That's what I'm focused on this year. And when I gave up that pushing and I just welcomed people in, like I told you, Charlene, someone just reached out to me. They found me on the website. They were looking for somebody with a military background. I didn't find that person. I've created the space to allow people to come in to be coached by me. I am not chasing clients. I am not chasing podcast guests. I am welcoming people to come when they're ready, if they want. And it feels so
Yeah.
good.
Yes, yes. And that chase is
Ooh,
why chase, when you see almost like the dog chasing their tail all the time, like why are you doing
Catch.
that? If you're creating a life for yourself, you also want to be an example. So others can be motivated and say, "Ah, yeah, this is the way I want to be. This is the connection I feel when I'm doing that." So,
mhm.
yes, I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah, change and setting that bar allows others to see. And when you talk about creating the space, so oh my God, that's such an integral part of us actually giving people what our gift is. We have
Mhm.
to create the space. So many times we want to take our gifts and force feed it,
Hmm.
or
Yeah.
we want to push it in areas to make people aware of that. And we just create the space by being. And I think if
Right.
we really get that, I don't think we get that. We're just so deep as people. It just amazes me how people are so deep and they're not even doing the simplistic of things, but they're just so mentally and emotionally and physically deep, right? But if we create these spaces, we'll have them, so we don't have to force them anywhere. And all we have to do is get up the nerves, the gall to just say, okay, this is my gift. I'm going to create this space, and those that it attract will be the ones that I can help.
Yeah. I
But
mean, I would have never done this, but the other day I was like meditating in the morning and I just said, I'm welcoming clients in. I'm welcoming whoever needs me in. And I got a couple clients that day. I mean, it just, you can't make it up.
no,
Right.
But I wasn't pushing. I wasn't calling. I wasn't tracking people down. I don't want to do that.
Hmm.
no, we don't want
Yes,
to.
yes.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
So, and I wanted to, before we started to wrap up, I definitely wanted to give a rundown of all the amazing strategies, tips, just things to keep in your life pocket, so like this is how you, if you want to really find that purpose, this is what you should be doing. And part of it was to clear the clutter from your life, from your physical life, your mental life, that allows you to find things and repurpose what you have, repurpose the space. So that's part of creating the space, right? If you go through the clutter and you try to figure out, okay, do I really need this? And I'm a person, like, I hold on just in case. I'm a just in caser. So I'm
Yeah.
like, what if I need this later? What if
Plan
the
B.
moment I shred this, that's when somebody's going to ask me for it? I'm like, are they really? So
I don't
it's
think so.
about, yeah, it's really about finding that purpose, and it can be electronic clutter as well. So it's just finding the way to clear the clutter. And then we talked about reflecting back, recognizing the patterns, and understanding, like, okay, is this something good in your life? Is it not? And then, of course, creating your own values. We, a lot of times, especially if we're coming from childhood, we're in our parents' homes, then we go to college. Most, not most, but a lot of us go to colleges, or we go into the military. Then that's a whole new set of rules for us that we're following. And then we're living our young adult lives. But then are we really? Because now, if we're in our apartment, that's someone else's rules we have to follow to an extent. If you just found a job, that's another set of rules you're following to an extent. So where are you going to now sit down and say, are these really my values? Am I really connected to all of these different avenues in my life? And then, of course, it's about making time for yourself. As Emily's mentioned many times, meditating. A lot of people find meditation to be a clearing opportunity as well, a mental moment that before you jump back into the world, you find a way to say, you know what? Let me settle myself. Let me get grounded, and then I can take on anybody else's issues and problems. I can learn who I'm not talking to today, because that's what we're not doing today. We're not taking on your whatever moments, because some people, they're draining too, and I think that's another way for you to start filtering people out of your life. I would say that to help you find your purpose, start filtering people out. Some people are just there to drain your energy. They're just draining all the positivity that's going on in your life. And I noticed for me, whenever something starts to happen really good, and I would have like a nice little wave of great stuff happening, there was always, and without hesitation, that one person. And I would always say, does this person sniff in the air and realize that I'm in a great space right now? Like, where did they come from? And when things are going to crap, they're nowhere to be found. They're ghost. But as soon as everything's coming up roses, as they would say, boom, here they are. Like, hey, hey. I'm like, no. So and sure enough, it happened at the end of the year last year, and I made that conscious effort not to respond. So I did not give it any energy. I did not give anything to it. So if that's something that you also need to do, that's another bonus thing that you guys should think about. Start filtering people
Yeah.
out of your life, not just situations, but the actual people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, not like Instagram, make them look better. Filter them out totally, like out, like when you do blur on a Zoom call, you can't see behind me. Filter
Not
them out.
even blur. Do that thing where you can. I think Pixel now,
Erase.
Google Pixel is saying you can just click and it's gone. It's
Yeah,
not
they
even
got
in
the
the picture.
camera. They got the camera, the magic eraser camera. You can
Yeah,
somebody try
just
to
magically
photobomb you,
erase them
get them
right
out
on out.
because they are things that drain us. They drain us mentally, physically, and health wise as well. We don't realize a lot of
Mhm.
these things, and we haven't even spoken to that degree. But a lot of these things, just they drain on our health of who we are.
You can
You
even
know,
keep a log of, what's draining you. So if you're
yeah,
not aware, keep a log of when your energies throughout the day, when you feel drained, when you feel stressed, and that helps you become more aware of what it is that's impacting you.
yeah.
Yes,
That's
yes.
definitely it. Keep a log, or better yet, do like they do if you got the COVID shot. Keep records. So when they come around, they start beeping. Like, oh no, you're not supposed.
Really?
But
You gonna start tracing them back, tracers?
yeah, just put traces on people. Nah, nah. I feel you. Wait, hold up. My watch is telling me that you're not good for me. Sorry.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
So yes, I just wanted to say, give Emily, give you another opportunity. Is there
Yeah.
anything else that you know that people should be aware of, or do, so they can be better at really fine tuning and honing in on their purpose?
I think I think the biggest thing is just being quiet and making that time to slow down and reflect. And a lot of times, life is so busy, we don't make that time, but it's like to get to know yourself, to get to know what gives you energy, what drains you from energy. That's like what gives you life, right? What makes you go, yes, and do more of that. And have more of that in your life. Have more of those people in your life. That's what I would recommend, Charlene. It's doing that inner work, and there's a lot to it. And the other thing is, I've been listening to Deepak Chopra a lot, and read this book, Untethered Soul, which is all about how we're not our minds, we're the observer of our minds, and how we can let things go, let things flow through us, let the energy flow through us, let the stress flow through us. What causes us stress is how we react to situations. We can choose our thoughts, and our thoughts create our feelings, which creates our actions or inactions, which creates results. And every day we're generating results. So become aware of our thoughts is something else towards creating a life you love living, and really understanding why you're here, your purpose.
Yes, yes. So, folks, make sure you are connected to Emily. If you're not, you're missing out on a lot of insight, a lot of
Oh,
connection opportunities to improve who you are, too. just seeing how Emily moves in this space is amazing. And also hit her up, check out her website because you see her talking about it. She's finding
Yes,
people are finding her
they find her.
organically. They're finding her. So go and see what she has on here. And Carl, I know with you, vulnerability is a big thing. And I think that's also part of finding your
Yes.
purpose is being vulnerable enough to
Right.
really do that deep dive and understand, okay, is this really me? How do I want to be known and seen? Tell the folks where they can find you.
Well, you guys can find me, carlshawnwatkins.com. Check out the website. We got a whole lot of news things coming up for this. I was about to say semester. School just got my mind. It's got my mind. So I know what your son's feeling like. I'm telling you. It's,
Yeah.
going back to school at an old age today, you got that experience and that do work out for you in sometime with the professors and doing the assignments. But I tell you, you catch it on the other side of that studying. But just look for my website. I got my vulnerability transformation program. It starts March 7th. 4 week intensive. We cover four basic steps on how to embrace your vulnerability and how to overcome the fear of vulnerability. Because a lot of people are fearful because they don't understand what it is. They read it in the dictionary and they applied it to their life, and that could be the furthest from the truth. It's the same door that you're closing, the same door that you're closing people out on and keeping yourself locked up. It's the same door that you need to let other opportunities come in so you can embrace who you want to be, just like Emily said. You want to get rid of that clutter and come and see me. I got a program that's it's going to knock your socks off for real. That has already for the past. I began the first one in January and it has been awesome. So the reviews are out, but come and check that out. Also, check out the blog. Got new blogs coming out every Monday that is talking about vulnerability and leadership. And if you guys get a chance, I went out last night for Valentine's, so I didn't do my authentic leadership one-on-one show, but I will be doing it tonight at 6 p.m. instead of my normal 5 o'clock on Mondays. Come and check it out. We're talking about being vulnerable in leadership, being authentic in leadership, and how you can be, no matter wherever it is, if it's a leader in your home or the CEO in the company, how you can use vulnerability to increase, enhance, and beautify your relationship with others. That's all I got right now, Charlie. I mean,
Love
that's
it,
enough.
love it.
That's enough. But I mean, that's all I got right
That I mean, when you say that's all, like that's like literally, he normally has like a book.
Yeah, I do. I had to cut it down. I had to cut it down. Emily got she got places to go, people to see, and clients to sign. So I can't keep it all.
Facts, facts. So as we are all opening our own spaces and saying, you know what, send people, send who is ready, send them on over and stop all the chasing people who's not ready and trying to figure out when you're going to be ready. Like when they're ready, they'll find you. So it's about creating the space and making sure that they can find us when they're ready. And that's where I come in. I have the SOS struggle site sessions. If you need a quick strategy, you need to know really what are the top 3 things that you need to handle now on your website to improve your actual find ability. That's where you can come in. Register with me at brooklyncustomdesigns.com/SOS and just sign up so we can get you started because there is no reason that you are chasing people. You're trying to get people to understand who you are because we all do this. When someone comes to you and they say, "Hey, I have a business," we all say, "Oh, cool. What's your site? Where
Yeah.
can I find you online?" And most of us, we already know the game of Instagram, social media. We make ourselves look amazing on social media, right?
Oh, big time, big
So
time.
where can you find the details? Where can you find real information and start to see if there is there longevity here? Like what's going on? That's where you really want to build out a space for yourself. Create your space online so people can not only find you, but they can start to trust you and start keeping that updated. Do what you can, make that your main platform. So if you need that SOS session, hit me up. We're going to drop these links in our comment section. And I just wanted to say thank you all. Thank you all for coming through. And don't forget, we have our YouTube channel. We're building that out.
Yes.
Make sure that you connect with us on YouTube, be part of the YouTube family. And once we start to do that, you're going to see a lot of updates going on. We got some things in the works.
Yes.
So our anniversary is going to be coming up in the summer. So
It's gonna be.
excited.
It's gonna be. Y'all talking about the 4th of July. Y'all ain't say nothing yet what Charlene got. What she got in
And
store for this anniversary special.
man.
So you guys better get guys personally to everybody that's watching. Put that back up, Charlene. I want them to
Oh,
see
oh,
that.
uh-oh.
Everybody that's watching, go subscribe to this YouTube channel. Go subscribe to this YouTube channel. Help us out, support us. I'm not a beggar, never will be, never have been, ain't gonna start now. But if you're liking what we're doing and you're loving what we're saying, go subscribe to that YouTube channel. Because I'm not gonna put on blast all the millions of people that have sent me stuff to subscribe and I've hit accept. So go accept that button, go hit that subscribe button, like what you see, leave a comment, let people know these are the things that we do as live streamers, as community, where we help one another. So we gotta push the button on that. Yeah, sorry, that
Definitely.
was my soapbox for the day.
That was his pitch for the day. But yes, hit us up with that because I haven't told Carl yet, and I did one for my other show. I didn't tell Shri yet either,
No.
but we had done. I've officially claimed our LinkedIn pages, so that too will be coming to you guys. We're gonna start fixing those up, so you guys can really fine tune and figure out where everything is. And we want to make things as simple as possible. We're not trying to keep everybody on social media, trust and believe, but we just want to make it possible, make it easy so you can find different locations. So LinkedIn's page is about to get fixed up. And like I said, we're going to celebrate our anniversary, our first year. We've done so much, and it's because of you guys as our community. We appreciate you. And we just want to say thank you for coming out. As always, thank you, Emily, for being a part of this community, a part of the show. And we cannot wait because, I do too first. We can't wait to have you back on and definitely get more into finding the purpose because as we all start to grow in our lives and our businesses in our corporate lives, we want to make sure that what we're doing, we're passionate about it too. We don't want to do things for the check because that doesn't always last, as we already know. And burnout is real. So how do you keep pushing forward through burnout, through frustration, through angst and anxiety? You do it through finding your purpose. And I can't wait to have you back on, Emily, to talk about that.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it.
Enjoyed you too. And
Yes.
last shout out before we go. Thank you, John. John just told me he went and subscribed. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you. And
Yes.
until Thursday, guys, we have another fantastic guest. You guys enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you back at Thursday, same time, 10 a.m. for your real talk where real recognize real.
Bye.
Talk with Carl and Charlene. Real talk for the real world. Let's get it.